campaign, you're really facing a new challenge every time you sit down to play a new map. You don't know what you're going to get or what you're going to see next. And we're going to force you to think creatively, to really try to think of some new strategies with lots and lots of choice. At the same time, as you're playing through the game, you're really not on rails anymore. Like, we did as best we could, or these guys did as best they could with Warcraft 3 to try to make the game as open and to give you as much choice as you possibly could. But with the new stuff in Starcraft, where you can choose from a variety of missions next, you can customize your tech tree, it's just a lot of exciting stuff in the solo campaign. And as guys working on the campaign, it gets us really geeked up.
So it's obvious that you can modify the included character models and assets for the mod development, but what I want to know is how easy is it going to be to add new character models and assets and code those?
I think it's going to depend on how good an artist you are. So you're still going to have your own 3D authoring tools, and you're going to need to have the skill to do it. I don't know for sure yet, and we're still working on it, exactly what sort of art importing tools we're going to be able to ship with, but it's something we're obviously enthusiastic to support, if not at launch, soon after.
Hi there. I was a Warcraft 2 map maker and Starcraft map maker and Warcraft 3 map maker.
Woohoo!
And one thing that bothered me is somebody taking my map, calling it version 10, and changing one little thing. How can you help with that?
Yeah, this is a huge problem. I totally agree. And as you imagine, moving forward to Map Marketplace, this is a problem we need to solve. So we haven't locked down what our exact plans are, but rest assured we're going to make every effort to make it very difficult, if not virtually impossible, to steal from you, the mod maker, so that you have ownership over your work, and only you have ownership over your work.
I was wondering to what extent the UI can be customized in the editor that would show up in-game.
I think you've done some work on this, Mike. Can you speak to this? What's possible?
There's quite a bit of customization you can do. As you saw in the little first-person over-the-shoulder video we showed a minute ago, you can make your own custom buttons on the screen. You can make entire dialogues. You can put images inside of those dialogues, text, color. You can basically we created a bunch of tools for things that we aren't planning to use in the campaign. We asked for a lot of things that, programmers groan over a little bit because we say, well, we don't need this, but imagine what the modders could do. So we really try and give you as much UI customization as we can.
And that's sort of a core question. Every time a feature comes up in the game, like we want a boss bar, we want anything you can imagine, the one thing Mike always asks, or Matt always asks, well, how can we make this as flexible as possible so that mod makers can really make use of it? One of the things we've added for our game is an inventory system. Well, you've seen our game and you've played it on the floor. We don't need an inventory system for Starcraft 2. It's not part of our core gameplay mechanics, but it's something we know that you, the mod users, will use. So we've been doing a lot of work, and the engineers have been very supportive of this, of trying to get these kinds of systems into the game so you guys can really make use of them.
In what ways will the hero system in Galaxy be more flexible than it was in Warcraft 3?
So the question, what ways will the hero system be more flexible?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to recreate anything you wanted to do with Warcraft 3 in the hero system, but I think you can also create any number of other heroes. Our data editor is extremely powerful. Everything you saw in the Uberlisk was all created in the data editor. Our entire game is created in the data editor. Everything is coded with the data editor. So there's nothing in our game that you could not recreate. If you wanted to recreate, I don't know, maybe a little game called Brood War in our game, you could absolutely do that.
I was a very big fan of doing missions, and I never really had any incentive to do secondary missions. So what are you going to add to make those more useful?
I'm sorry, I don't think I understand the question. Could you elaborate for us a little bit?
Well, in Warcraft 3, you had your primary objectives, then you had secondary things.
Right.
But in Starcraft, you didn't really need the secondary things because your heroes couldn't do anything. So what are you going to do to make those secondary things more important?
Right, so in Starcraft 2, right, like we've got sort of main objectives and bonus objectives, which speaks to sort of the same things you're talking about. And we also have an achievement system, right, for our game at least, which we can use to encourage you to stretch and try to use your bonus objectives and try to make them a little bit more part of the experience for you. We've also got the option, of course, to offer you more money or additional research or lots of bonuses that will